Welcome student, this is your science teacher Anirban Bashak. In our previous class, we had discussed about the wool. Today, we would be discussing about a fine, soft, lustrous and a strong animal fiber, that is the silk. Yes. So, silk is a fine, soft, lustrous and a strong animal fiber. It is obtained from an insect called the silk moth, especially its larval stage. Before going to the processing of silk, we shall know the life cycle or the life history of the silk moth. The female silk moth lays eggs on the leaves. These eggs hatch out into the larva called the caterpillar or the silkworm. Caterpillar or the silkworm. Before moving on to the next stage, that is the pupa, the silkworm, what does it do? It weaves a net around itself for holding. Yes. So, during this, what happens? The head of the silkworm swings in the figure of 8. It swings in the figure of 8 and the head produces a fiber made up of a protein. It produces a fiber made up of protein which on exposure to air hardens and forms the silk fiber. The caterpillar completely covers itself by the silk fiber and forms the pupa. And the covering outside, which is made up of the proteinaceous silk fiber, is called the cocoon. So, from the cocoon we obtain the silk yarn or the thread. So, how does the life cycle goes? The life cycle goes like this. The female silk moth lays eggs, then from eggs the caterpillar or the silkworm, which is the larval stage of the silk moth, then pupa, and finally the adult male and the female silk moth. There are different varieties of silk moth which produce silk which differ in their texture. What are those? Like the mulberry silk moth, which is the most common The mulberry silk moth is the most common, which produces the mulberry silk. Then the tussar silk, which is produced by the tussar silk moth. Then the kosa silk, which is produced by the kosa silk moth, and many. The rearing of silkworm. The rearing of silkworm for obtaining silk is known as sericulture.